Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Now, as you have seen, we have tried a tutorial on CSS, we have tried a tutorial on HTML5, we have tried a tutorial on little bit of Bootstrap. Now, you may do all those things yourself also. You may try to play around with how to make simple websites, simple nice menus, nice navigation bars, footers. All those things are to do with the design, the look and feel of the website. It doesn't add anything to the functionality. So this is where this module is really beginning. This is where this module is really beginning. Whatever we have done was just to bring about the test a little bit and to see the students' interest and see their history and their background and to touch on that. Now, PHP is where this module is about basically. So this is the architecture that I'll be giving for your assignment as well, and you already have heard of me talking about the assignment a little bit. But we are going to talk about this separately, and also I'm going to make a video explaining a lot of details about your assignment. For now, just understand that you have to do an assignment where there is a graphical user interface on the web and the user is interacting with the website in order to do this booking and this ticket buying tickets and stuff like that. So that will happen later. But for now, in this architecture, we have a class called customer class, we have a hotel class, room class, activity class, and ticket class. And if you come from a database background, you would have realized that most of these things are already completed with relational schema, with all the cardinality participation, as well as the normalized tables are shown here. And even you have broken down this many-to-many relationship into this composite entity. If you come from a database background, you would have realized that. But the general idea is when there is a database that has to be created, you have to make sure your tables are normalized. If you don't finish normalization, your table may have bugs, your table may have errors, and most importantly, redundancy. It may have anomalies. We have delete anomalies, insertion anomalies, all those types of things are there. So remember, you must have a relational schema that is normalized. This is the reason why I have finalized the database schema already, and I'm going to give you the finished database schema. You don't have to worry about actual data. In real world, there has to be database design. And if the database design is complete, then you can use that as a database for your project. It's not like where you just out of the blue think that, oh, there must be a customer class, oh, he must have ID. No, no, no. The requirement has to be collected from the customer. You have to do a survey, you have to find out the data dictionary, and you have to do a conceptual model, you have to do a logical model, you have to do a physical model. So in my database classes, I teach these things. But for those of you who have not taken database, you may not have heard of these things, or you have already known all these things, no problem. So basic plan is you should know these things by practice and by history, by experience. Customer.php is the first class you'll create for this project without any setup, without any Laravel or without anything. Customer.php. So here is an example of a customer.php class. So you can just create a small project for yourself in your WAMP server in www. How do you set that up? There's a different story. We will make a separate video tutorial when we are making Laravel, because I have to talk about virtual host. I have to talk about editing the Windows host file, all these things. For now, just make sure you need Apache to run your PHP files. So you should have Apache, you should have WAMP server or XAMPP server, LAMP server, whatever it is. Anything that can run MySQL and PHP and Apache, you can run it. And then make sure your local host works. That means when you go to localhost, you must see this page. This means your WAMP server works, right? So use WAMP server, and that way you create a folder on your www directory, cwamp www directory. Here you put all your projects. Here are some of the projects I have been working on, and you can put here theme park. That is what we are trying right now. Inside public, we have all this stuff. So this is one of the areas where you can put your codes. And once you have a project like that, you can go to your project directly from the local host itself. You can go to localhost/theme park like this. You can create, and then when you move here, it will take you into this public directory. This is of course if you are using Apache that way. Now I have set up virtual host. That means when I type like this theme park itself, it will automatically take you into the actual index.php page. So here you can see welcome to theme park. You see this little page over here. Okay, so that is an example of a small theme park. Now we are going to go into the partials on how you create headers and footers and all those things, but that's not the point here. What I'm trying to show you here is this page where you have index.html. This is the same page we are using for the basic. Oh, you don't have html.php. Theme park html.php is in the public. Okay, so in this case, your document is in public/index.html, right? Okay, it's already in public. Okay, but this is not. Oh, this is not. This is the wrong place. Tutorial. That was the setup I did for Laravel actually. Okay, so tutorial index.html. That's the sample. Yeah, okay. So we were there, we were using this one, and then with the dashboard, this one we were using for Bootstrap, for example. Okay, anyway, so having this idea where you create a customer class. So customer class in this case is customer.php. We have customer class, and usually we use capital C both for the file name and also for the class name, and then we fill out the details. We have customer ID, customer name, and phone number. And in this case, there's something I have added extra, and that is no, I haven't added, right? Okay, ID number, customer ID number. Make sure you use proper variable naming convention. If you are a person who puts underscores, just go for underscore. If you are a person who follows this kind of architectures where you have camel casing, like me, try to follow that one. So in PHP, you follow example architectures like almost just like Java, where you create classes. So you have private variables that represent your class. You have a constructor that is going to represent your class, your object. So when you create a new object, it is going to give you default values. Then you have functions where you are going to get these values because they are encapsulated, encapsulation. So they are encapsulated means they are hidden because they are private. So you are creating these public functions which will act like the API or act like the gateway to access these variables because they are hidden, they are encapsulated. That's the correct word, encapsulation. Now here you have all the other classes, other methods such as setters. So these are called getters and these are called setters because the variables are private, no one can access them directly. They have to send it across these functions in order to change them. And then you have a get customer info function, which is basically going to output customer information. For now, okay, this is how we are going to do it in PHP, where we just return this data as a string. Okay, so later on we will see how you can do it differently in Laravel, but for now just practice this way. So this is an example of a customer class. I want you to watch this video and type this thing into your project itself. You create a PHP, customer.php. You don't have to have anything else actually. It just have to be a folder inside your Apache. You can just have a customer.php and type this thing into it. Then you create another main class or a class like general practice.php, something like this. This is not customer class. Where's my customer class? Index.php. Okay. So index.php, and index.php is the page where it will actually by default land when you come to a page. For example, here when I entered tutorial like this, it automatically went into index.php, not index.html. Okay, because if there's a PHP page, it will go into PHP page. Dynamic web design is like that. The Apache will take you into PHP page. Okay, so you have this file here, and you should understand here by looking at this file, what you have is an example of how do you access the class. So including this class, this is because we are referring to this class. Now if you are in the same folder, let's try to remove it and see if it works. See, it will give you an error. So you have to include them because you are using them, and after including them, you can create a customer. This way, when you create a customer, you are using the default constructor or you are invocating the constructor. Here you have the default constructor. So by default, you will have customer phone number and customer name and customer ID card, everything is empty. Instead of giving null, we can give empty values. That is a better practice. Anyway, so here you have created a customer. Then because ID numbers and those details are not directly accessible, you are setting them this way. Now, of course, if you wanted, you can follow the example of keeping them public variables, but there is no point of using classes then. The whole purpose of using object-oriented classes is to make them private, to hide them, to encapsulate them, and provide access via all these functions such as setters and getters. So you can use getters if you want to get a separate item like ID number. You can use setter. You can use getters, setters in order to change them. So here we are changing the phone numbers. We are changing the data of the customers, and then we are just printing. Echo means just show to the screen, right? So we are printing it based on the formatting and everything that comes from the customer class. So here we have customer.php. So this is basically how the PHP classes are designed. We don't need to learn much about PHP. Look at here, for example. This is a simple PHP page where you are doing basic PHP like creating an array, going through the for loop and printing them, checking them using if condition, creating a function and calling a function, and returning boolean and checking whether it is private, whether it is even number or odd number. So these kind of things you can do when we have time. But this is learn in PHP one by one, like variables, then you learn arrays, then you learn loops, all these things. We don't have time to learn those separate details because we are heading for trying these things on a framework, which will be much better than learning separate components separately, where you're just learning PHP and you're not benefiting yourself. Okay, so this is the basic idea of a PHP page. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to follow this example of customer PHP and create another two example called sorry, does work? Okay. Another two example called hotel.php and room.php. And you create a hotel and also you create a room just like the way we have done here as a customer in our index.php and print its information. That is your PHP exercise for tonight. Okay, so you do a PHP exercise and also you do the bootstrap exercise. These two exercise is enough for the session 2. And I'm sorry if you feel this is too much because we really need to start that way. We really need to start that framework. Otherwise, we'll not have enough time to finish up those things. Okay, guys. So your assignment is also there. You have to focus on that as well. So please ensure that you have enough time to practice these things. If you are finding it difficult, then you need to go back to the basics, absolute basics, and start from scratch by learning more simple PHP type of tags and stuff like that. Okay, guys. So see you at 8:15, and this is the tutorial you are going to do for PHP, and I'll upload it after I discuss with you guys.